It's the most wonderful time of the year, Christmas. And what better way to get into the holiday spirit than with a Minky Couture blanket? Whether you're gathered around the tree with loved ones, roasting marshmallows by the fire, or just looking for a cozy way to stay warm on a chilly night, Minky blankets are the perfect addition to your Christmas festivities. With a wide range of festive designs and colors, you can find the perfect blanket to match your holiday decor or gift to your loved ones. So this Christmas, make your holiday even cozier with a Minky Couture blanket. Head to minkycouture.com now and find your perfect blanket, just in time for the holiday. Happy holidays from Minky Couture.
Pro football player Travis Kelce is pressed for time during the football season. So he does two things at once. Whether it's grilling while mowing.
Two things at once!
Or getting this season's updated COVID-19 shot at the same visit as his flu shot.
Two things at once.
You can be like Travis and ask your pharmacist about getting this season's COVID-19 shot at the same visit as your flu shot, if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
This episode is powered by Poddex.
Thank you for tuning in today. You are now listening to That Will Never Work podcast with your host, Maurice Chisholm. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. I am happy that you tuned in. I have a very special guest with us today. This young man, he's had a lot of personal experiences that he's going to try to share with us today and how to move forward and changing our mindset. If you read his story, and we'll share all his information later on about how he had overcome everything from losing everything to becoming homeless in his mid-40s and rebuilding his life in a much better way than before. He is a speaker, a teacher, a writer, and a researcher, and he is going to help us to understand the process for creating a true success in our lives. I'm really, really excited for this opportunity to speak to him. As you well know, I've been talking to each and every one of you about building your brand and changing the mindset and understanding what does that mean. And he truly fits this mold for today. Let's go get into it. I introduced you today, Mr. Liam Naden. Liam, how are you today, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. Pleasure to be here. I'm looking forward to it. And you get extra points for calling me a young man. That was very nice of you. Thank you.
Oh, no. No problem. So listen, one of the things that we've already discussed about how to change our mindset. What do you think helped you? What was the trigger from, like you said in your bio, of losing everything, becoming homeless in your mid-40s? What made you change to become successful? Was there any one particular situation or someone spoke to you? Just explain to us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, it was what really got me to change was the whole experience of losing everything and becoming homeless. Because, like probably all your listeners, I'd spent my life as an entrepreneur and wanting to be the best that I could be. And I tried everything that I could. I tried everything from religion, spirituality, self-help, motivation, personal development. I used to go to seminars all over the world. I read lots of books. I used to do self-hypnosis recordings, affirmations, trying to change my beliefs, change my mindset, as you just mentioned. And I did all of those things. But what I noticed was I couldn't quite put my finger on it and say that any of those were really that effective. I mean, sure, I was having successes in businesses, but I was also having lots of failures. And I was having lots of struggle, problems, stress. And I got to the point of thinking and believing what a lot of people say, which is that, well, problems and stress are just a part of the game. That's how you become successful. You've got to overcome challenges, and you're always going to have problems. You're always going to have stress, and you just have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing was, even though I'd learned all of these things about success and goal setting and achieved quite a lot of success, and as I say, but still had problems, in my mid-40s, I did lose everything. And I became homeless. I had to move in with my elderly mother into her small apartment and sleep on the sofa in her living room. You know, and it was just, it was a horrible situation. But one of the worst things was, I thought, why has this happened to me? Because I know how to be successful. I've never been in this situation. I've always known how to create success and achieve goals and do all those sorts of things.
Right.
How come I've ended, what's caused me to lose everything? This should never have happened. And what I did was I changed my approach. And I said to myself, and I didn't realize it until later, but this is what I actually did, was I said, you know, I actually don't have the answers to this. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get myself out of the situation. I don't know how to start earning any money because all of my businesses have gone. And I really have no clue on what to do. So I give up. And what I realized by giving up, what actually happened was my life, after, you know, clearing up the mess for a few months, my life got an awful lot better. And I was gradually and suddenly doing a lot of the things I'd always wanted to do. And business opportunities were coming to me for making good income, but doing things that I really enjoyed, things that I loved to do. And I was also discovering new opportunities and doing new things that I never realized I wanted or would like, but was loving those as well. And one of the best things was there was no stress. There was no struggle. There were no overwhelming problems that I kept having to deal with. And I thought, what am I doing differently? And what I discovered, and this is a really controversial statement, but I can explain it, and it's to do with the brain. But on a biological level, if you're struggling and if you're stressed, what you're actually doing is you're blocking off the part of your brain that is responsible for solving your problems. It's a very strange thing, but we're all taught you've got to really struggle and stress and figure out what to do and all of those things. I'm sure your listeners, if you really think about it, a lot of the time that doesn't work. And a lot of the time what does work is when you're not worried about something or when something unexpected comes along. And I certainly, when I look back on my businesses, I remember the things that really worked weren't things that I really went out and planned for. They weren't things that I wrote down as a goal and struggled to achieve. They were opportunities sort of came from somewhere else. So it's a funny thing with the brain, but the way it works, and this is why I teach how to use your brain the right way, because your brain is a machine. It's the most powerful machine ever created. But unlike our car or our computer or any other machine, no one's ever taught us how to use it. And as a result, if you try and drive a car without being taught to drive, what happens? You don't get anywhere.
Right.
You put in a whole lot of effort and struggle, but you still don't get anywhere. And all it does is wear you out and give you problems.
Right.
Or worse, if you do manage to get it going and you put the wrong fuel in or you use the levers and the knobs in the wrong way, chances are you're going to damage the car and you're going to have problems there as well. So that is the thing that the research has led me to see, that the brain is a machine. It works in a specific way, and it's actually designed to give you the life where you are the best that you can be. But if you use it in a way that makes you, if you try and solve problems with using force, stress, anxiety, worry, you block off the part of your brain whose job it is to solve those problems and to give you the right opportunities and the right answers and the right creativity to create the life you really want.
You know, that's really interesting. As I'm listening to you, there's a phrase that you have on here where you say, setting goals is unnatural and sabotages your success. And it makes me think, I wonder how many of us are in that space. So what do you mean by that? Or what's your thought process behind a statement like that?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Excuse me. Most people, when they set goals, on a subconscious level, they're doing it out of fear. Because what they're saying to themselves is, I really want to reach this goal. I need to reach this goal for me to be happy. And I'm going to struggle to achieve it. I'm going to do whatever it takes. So I'll be really happy when I have $1 million.
Yeah, you're right.
When I have the perfect marriage, but I'm not happy now, and I'm not happy if I don't get there. And there's this tension, this disconnect between where you are and where you think you need to be for you to be happy. So you feel stressed, you feel anxious, and you feel, oh, if I could only have that, then I'll feel good.
Yeah.
But the problem in that state is you very, very rarely achieve that goal. And I'm sure that's most of your listeners, if you're really honest, and that was certainly the case for me, the number of goals that I set, I very rarely achieved them. I'd write down, have a goals list of, I'm going to earn this amount of money each year, and I'm going to have this sort of house. And you know, I look back on it and I think, well, I really didn't achieve most of those goals. And in fact, the success rate for setting those sort of goals or achieving those sort of goals is incredibly low. Most of us don't.
You're
and
right.
There are lots of problems with that approach, which is that for a start, if you're setting it in your fear, when you're feeling anxiety, your brain is blocked off from telling you what your goals should be. You know, I have in my own podcast called Using Your Brain for Success, one of my episodes, I talk about a guaranteed way to reach your goals 100% of the time. And that way is to set the right goal. But none of us think about, is it the right goal? Or how do we know if it's the right goal? And the reason for that is when we're in this anxious state of needing something or needing something more than we have, our brain, which has another part to it, there are actually 4 parts to the brain, but the part that has all the creative juice, if you like, it's where we get our intuition from, our gut feeling, our higher awareness of who we are, where we get better ideas, and where things happen without us trying to force them to happen, you know, synchronicities and chance events. These are all created by our brain. We don't have access to that part of our brain when we're in an anxious state or in a worried state. So if you try and set a goal when you're in a needy, anxious, stressed state and thinking, well, if I can get this, then I'll be happy, your brain is not able to show you what your goal should be.
Okay.
So you just make something up. You think, oh, well, I'm sure I'll be happy with $1 million.
Right.
And of course, how many times do people achieve these goals, even if they happen to in this state, and it doesn't make them happy anyway? So they think, oh, well, I need to set another goal. But this is the thing about the brain. When you're if I could just explain briefly, when you're in a fear, anxiety, worry state, you activate something in your brain called the sympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system, that state is designed for only one thing, and that's to fight off an immediate danger.
Right.
That's your fight, flight, freeze mechanism. That's the part that, you know, if a lion's running at you in the jungle in prehistoric times, you're supposed to run out of the way and in other words, react without thinking.
Right.
That's what it's there for. But when you really think about it, when a lion is running at you, the last thing you want to be doing is thinking and is coming up with any creative solutions or seeing any different perspective or evaluating things. You've just got to react to a danger. So your brain actually blocks off all of that part of you because it thinks, well, when you're reacting to an immediate danger. But the problem is, for most people, most of the time, they're living in this anxious state. They're activating their sympathetic nervous system, which is only designed to be used short-term to get rid of an immediate threat. But they're in that state most of the time because they're telling their brain there's something to be afraid of, there's something dangerous around you, when there isn't most of the time. It's all in our head. It's all our mindset. We think something's dangerous. So we block off in a really, ironic way, we block off our brain's ability to solve the problems that we've actually got. Weird, isn't it?
It is. So let me ask you this then. So how do you eliminate that fear and stress and anxiety in a world that's very uncertain right now, more especially?
Well, this is what I teach in my, I have a complete coaching program about all of this, which explains how the brain works. And the first thing is once you start to understand how the brain works, you wouldn't use it any other way. So it's a bit like your car, or if you got in the car and you knew how to drive it, if someone said, well, you have to put the handbrake on and the accelerate at the same time, you'd say, that's crazy. That's never going to work. because you understand how the machine works. So
Right.
once you know how your brain works, once you know how these 4 parts, there are 4 different parts to it, once you know their job and how they're supposed to work, you automatically, your awareness shifts and you think, well, it's crazy me trying to solve a problem when I'm in a fearful state. So what comes from that is that the first thing you do that you can do on a very practical level, is you have to become very, very mindful of what you're putting into your brain that's making you feel anxious, worry, or afraid. And that can be your thoughts, it can be conversations with other people, it can be watching stuff on television,
right.
or all of this stuff. You've got to look at that as like physical nutrition. If someone gave you a glass of hydrochloric acid and said, drink that and I'll give you $1 million, would you do it?
Oh,
No.
I would.
Why not? Because it's going to, it's going to damage you. It's not going to do you any good.
Right.
So if someone said to you, watch this thing on television or listen to this person that's going to make you feel bad, when you understand that the mere fact of feeling bad is going to block your brain's ability to give you your solutions to your problems and give you everything you really want. If you know that, you're going to be very, very careful about what you allow into your conscious awareness.
Right, right.
And that's one very practical step. I teach a process called neurostate rebalancing because it's not just a question of blocking what's coming in. You've also got to deal with what you've already put in there, if you like. And what neurostate rebalancing does is that realigns the 4 parts of your brain so that your brain now recognizes that most of the stuff it thinks you have to be afraid of, you don't. It isn't real. It's not a lion coming at you out of the jungle.
Right. Wow.
But this is the most important thing, is to know that when you feel fear, when you feel anxiety, and people say to me through my coaching, oh, but it's all really well for you, Liam. You don't have my problems. How can I not feel stressed? How can I not feel afraid? Well, that's what I spend my time coaching people on, because just because you think you can't doesn't mean you shouldn't. And it doesn't mean your life is going to work if you don't. Your life is never going to work, no matter how motivated you are. And this is the problem. People pray, they do affirmations, they do so much effort and put so much work in. But if they can't change the way if they do it when they're in a fearful state and they can't change that state, they're never going to get the results they want. And that's what I found. Wow. Your brain is there to give you what you want, but you need to sort of get out of the way, really, and you need to let it do its job properly. You get in a motor car and you sit down, you turn the switch on, you press the right buttons, you say, and it's going to take you to where you want to go.
Right.
And you're going to have a pleasant ride. You're not worried and stressed that if you're going to get there or if the machine is going to work,
right.
the car is going to work. So it's the same with your brain, but you need to get out of this state of trying to figure it out, trying to push, trying to do all these things, get more information, get all stressed. Your brain is saying to you, look, just get out of the way. You've got between your ears the most powerful computer machine that exists on the planet. Why don't you let it do its job? Why don't you use it the right way? It really is. It's not easy, but it's simple.
It's not. And you make it sound very simple, but I think what happens is that, as you stated earlier, what information are we pulling in, right? Whether it's our influences by our family members, as you said, the TV, because a lot of people, what I come across, people are so busy looking at what you would call an influencer or a TV star, things like that, and they, art imitates life and vice versa. So that's their mindset of like, hey, in order for me to feel good, I have to be in this space. And so I totally agree with where you're coming from. Everyone is not, they have to go about it differently. And that's just my opinion. Because everything is not for everybody, to be honest.
Well, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. When you start to use your brain the right way, because a lot of maybe what I've been saying, people are listening, they're going, oh, that can't be right. And, of course I have to struggle and try and fix my problems. And of course I have to work at it. And of course I have to get more information. Of course I have to set goals and strive to reach them. And if this guy, Liam Naden, is just saying, well, you know, you don't need to do any of that, you just allow your brain to do it. And incidentally, I'm not saying you don't put effort in when you allow your brain to do it. You certainly do, but you put the right effort in.
Right.
But the problem with when people, what they need to recognize is when they have all of those responses, it's because of their awareness, the state of awareness that they have their brain in. And when you're in a fearful, anxious state, you don't have the same awareness. So you don't see the sorts of things I'm talking about. Whereas when you change your brain state to your natural state, your creative state, I call it, it's the part that actually does the creating in your life, your awareness shifts and you start to see the truth about things. It's a bit like somebody who smokes cigarettes and they smoke 40 a day and they love it, and then they give up. And they look back and say, why did I ever smoke cigarettes? It's actually disgusting. It's awful. How could I have done that? It's horrible. But why do they say that? Because their awareness has shifted about what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with your brain. When you start to use it in a different way, that's the beauty of it. You naturally find you don't want to turn that television on and watch those things. You don't want to watch things that are just mindless and that aren't helping your life.
Mm-hmm.
You want to fill your mind with things that are building your life in a really creative way.
Right.
And that is the beauty of it. Most of us can't see what I'm talking about, but it's not the fact that it's not true. It's just their brain in an anxious state is not allowing them to see it.
Wow.
Interesting stuff, huh?
Oh no, most definitely. Most definitely. I think what for all you that are listening today, I really hope that you are taking in this information because, as you well know, that's all I've been trying to get us to do is to change our mindset. How to, I didn't come from the perspective of eliminating the fear and the stress type thing, and understanding that how much, even when we're looking at our goals, how stressful those can really be, to be honest, because we're trying so hard. And just trying to make things work because, like you said, some of us are trying to get to this position because of our lack of resources in our childhood or in our marriage or things like that. So we're trying so hard, spinning our wheels, and so we're operating in a place of stress, not, as you stated, Liam, not allowing our creative juices to flow, really, to get us out of it.
I lost everything in my mid-40s. Don't you think I was a bit annoyed?
Yes, most definitely.
So, but I didn't. But that's the problem. Everyone's trying to overcome problems. Mm-hmm. Everyone's trying to get enough for them to feel secure. But it really doesn't work that way. And you mentioned, I think we talked before going on air about Christianity and the Bible. The Bible tells you exactly how to use your brain the right way. Mm-hmm. It says, more than 360 times, be not afraid. Mm-hmm. Trust, believe. Why does it? And it's not saying that for some fancy idea. That's the way your brain works. Your brain won't work properly if you're afraid. That's why it says so often, be not afraid. And what did Jesus also say? Mm-hmm. Give no thought for tomorrow. Mm-hmm. He didn't say get out and write a goals list and go to work towards it. He said, give no thought for tomorrow. Let tomorrow will take care of itself. Mm-hmm. And again, when you're in that state, your brain is bringing to you the right actions, the right information, the right situations, and the right goals, and the right steps to take. So much of my life I spent cleaning up messes for decisions of things I should never have done. But I was stressed, and I thought, oh, this will work out. I'll make it work.
Right.
And if I don't take this opportunity, maybe a better one won't come along. So I was working so hard, cleaning up all these messes from mistakes, because I look back on it and say, I wish I hadn't done that. And that happens to us when we're in a stressed state. We make the wrong decisions. So instead of enjoying our life, instead of life being an adventure, which is what it's supposed to be, it's a trial. Mm-hmm. And that's not what it's all about at all. You're here to be the best you can be. That's your biological reason for existing as well as anything else. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So,
I'm going to tell you, Liam.
It took me many years of studying everything else, from goal setting and changing my thoughts and all this hard work, many years before, and the wonderful experience of losing everything to finally understand how the brain works. And you've been given this machine, this tool. You just all you need to do is use it the right way.
I'm going to tell you, Liam, you have given us a lot of food for thought today.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. I really, really do. I mean, I really do. I hope all of you out there are taking notes, have been pulling out your pens and paper and writing things down, or make sure you come back and listen to this again. So, Liam, where can they find more information about you and your content?
Okay, well, everything's on my website, which is just my name, Liam Naden. That's LiamNaden.com. I've got a couple of podcasts there, one called Using Your Brain for Success. I've got my coaching program and a lot of other information. And people are most welcome to reach out and take advantage of that. I'd love to help.
Cool. Man, listen, I appreciate you coming on today, sharing your information. It was a wealth of knowledge, to be honest. I'm going to be truly honest with you. It's helped me out, even personally, helped me to continue on my personal growth, to be honest.
Oh, that's great.
I appreciate
Great. Well, it's been a great pleasure talking to you.
And so,
Yeah.
well, before we go, I ask every guest this question, right? My would you rather question. So would you rather select a fork in the road or 3 doors?
I'd select the one that shows up first.
That's interesting. Okay.
I'd allow my creative brain to give me the answer rather than me try and figure it out.
Wow.
And it would be the right answer.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's a very different answer because everyone's answering the question directly. And like you said, not thinking of it outside of the box. Because to me, that's an outside of the box type answer.
But, we're all trying to think our way through our life. But the thinking brain is one of the 4 parts of the brain I referred to earlier. The thinking brain is not what creates your life. Your thinking brain's going to get you into trouble. That's not what it's there for. I know we haven't got time to talk about it, but you literally can't think your way through your life. It won't work. You'll end up with problems and stress. You've got to find the other part of your brain that actually is the creative part that is connected to the infinite part of you, I guess you'd like to call it. But it's the part that really knows everything about you, more than your thinking brain does. So that's the beauty. You don't need to change your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to accept that your thinking brain is not going to provide you with the answers. You need to tap into the other part of your brain that does.
Wow.
So took me a long time to figure this stuff out, as I said earlier. But it's my mission now is to help people realize that because, living with stress, I lived with it for decades, and it just didn't do me any good in the end.
Right.
Even at the time. So
wow.
It's a lot more fun letting your brain do the work, using the machine the right way, just like any other machine.
Listen, like I said, thank you
fun.
very much, Liam. Thank you very much. Now, listen, everyone, please go to his website, follow him on all his social media, listen to his podcast. Of course, all his information will be in the description below. Thank y'all very much for listening today. Liam, thank you very much for being on, man.
Oh, it's been brilliant. Thank you so much for having me.
Cool. Thank you very much, everyone. I will talk to you later.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Shop the Plato's Closet Black Friday event in North Charleston and West Ashley and let the deals begin. You know Plato's Closet always has a huge selection of trendy recycled styles at amazing prices, but Black Friday deals are different. They're better. We've been holding back some of our best inventory, and you won't want to miss our Black Friday event. Save on gently used styles from Patagonia, Lululemon, Lilly Pulitzer, and hundreds of popular brands. Plato's Closet is ready to let the Black Friday deals begin. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.